Hi, my name is Frank White and welcome to another episode of Photography Tips and Reviews. Today in this episode, I am going to go over 3 things that will make you a better photographer. Now, we all want to be a better photographer, so that goes without saying. Well, those 3 things that you need to know to make you a better photographer are 1, equipment, 2, light, 3, composition. Now, you might think equipment is kind of odd to put into the mix, but equipment is really important. Now, this is kind of a conundrum because on one hand, I'm going to say it doesn't matter what equipment you have, you can make a really good photo. And then on the other hand, I'm going to say it takes certain equipment to be able to get the photos that you may want. Well, it really doesn't make any difference what equipment you use to make your photos, whether it's a cell phone, a DSLR, or say even a $30,000 to $60,000 medium format Hasselblad. The principles to making great photos are all the same. Now, the reason I put the cell phones into the mix, number one, as you guys probably already know, the cell phones can actually do some incredible, make some incredible images that look technically, for their sensor size, pretty good. But I can tell you off the bat that you're not going to get any decent prints out of your cell phone. You're not going to get a canvas wrap out of your cell phone. The main reason I put the cell phone into the equipment category is because that's the camera that you generally always have with you. And one of the major things that make a good photo is being able to take a picture of something interesting. Now, the DSLRs and the medium format cameras are in the equipment category too for making great photos. Now the thing with those cameras is you can become more creative. But in order to become more creative, the tip is you really have to know your equipment. And the way to get to know that equipment is to take lots and lots and lots and lots of photos. So if you have a DSLR or have a medium format camera or any camera for that matter that you're serious about making decent or great photos, then the trick is to let it become an extension of your eye. And the way to do that, the way to make the camera an extension of your eye is to use it and to use it often. So far we've talked about equipment, and the major takeaways on that is to know your equipment, to practice often and to practice a lot. The other thing that you need to know and study to help make you a better photographer is light. Now, light, you can't make a photo without light. Whether you're trying to make a photo at 12 o'clock noon or in the middle of the night trying to photograph the Milky Way, you still have to have light in order to get a photograph. So the thing about light is knowing how to light your subject. And it really makes no difference whether you're taking pictures of people or landscapes or photojournalism, wildlife. The better you know your light, the better that image is going to be technically. Now, basically there are 2 types of light. There's artificial light and there is natural light. The thing about artificial light is you get to control the light. You get to decide where the shadows are going to be, how much how the shadows is going to look. You get to determine, in a lot of cases, the temperature of the light, whether or not you want a warm, yellowish or warmer light, or even a cooler, bluer light. You know, there are all kinds of techniques. There are all kinds of techniques that can help you control light, like gels. The other light that's a little bit harder to control is natural light, light from the sun, if you're taking pictures in the daytime, or the light of a moon if you're doing some astrophotography, or the light of stars, of course. Knowing how to get the best out of natural light is as much an art as it is a science too, because knowing how light looks and affect a picture at 12 o'clock versus the golden hour, or the hour between the hour before the sun sets, is important in terms of how you're going to get your photograph. Even landscape photographers will study light if they're going to take and make photos. What these guys do is determine far in advance what the light looks like on the subject or the scene that they want to photograph at what time of year. The light on, say, a mountain range, or a river, or some scenic scene may look different in the summertime than it looks in the fall, or it may look better in the spring than it looks in the fall. So often landscape photographers will plan their shoots around light, and that includes both the time of day and the time of year. So the second takeaway for making a great photograph is knowing your light and how to use it. In fact, let me give you a little experiment to try. The next time you're in a parking lot at 12 o'clock noon, take a look at the cars, and you'll notice all the specular highlights. But more importantly, look at those cars and try to determine what color they are. And oftentimes, at 12 o'clock during the midday, you can't see certain colors. So that's just an exercise that will help drive home the importance of light. The third thing that you need to know to help you make better photographs is composition. Now, composition is the arrangement of elements to produce a pleasing image. And that's my definition that I'm able to regurgitate without looking it up in a dictionary. But compositionally, photos can look better if you follow certain rules. Most untrained or inexperienced photographers tend to want to center the subject and then make the photo. And that's certainly okay if what you're looking for is a snapshot. But compositionally, a photo is generally more pleasing if you follow certain rules. Even with this video, you'll notice that I'm standing in a certain place. I'm standing so that I'm not in the center. And that's because by being off center, that makes this video image or stream more compositionally pleasing. If I stood in the center, I look like this, and the photo just don't have the same impact as it does if I stand here to the side a little bit. So I've learned that compositional tip by following what's known as the rule of thirds. So it's important to learn some of the basic compositional tips to help your photos become more pleasing. Another thing compositionally to watch out for is distracting elements. It's so easy when you want to make a photo to just grab your subject and say stand here and make that photo without paying any real attention as to what is behind the subject. Generally speaking, you don't want to make a photo where it looks like there's something growing out of the head. Also, you don't want to make a photo where the background is so busy that it's distracting. One of the things to keep in mind when making a photo compositionally is generally less is more. The less you have in your photo, the more impact it's going to have. There are certain rules to photography. None of them are etched in stone, so I would recommend that you take it upon yourself to learn a few of these rules. Now, as time goes on, I am going to make more videos about the compositional rules so that it will help you become a better photographer. So guys, I hope that I have been able to give you some good information, and I hope you take these three things that will help you become a better photographer to heart. Again, just to recap, you want to know your equipment, you want to know your light, and you want to know your composition. So if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I kind of use that as my barometer to determine how well this content is. And if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below. I will read them and generally respond to them, even if this video is a couple, 3 or 4 years old. And finally, if you haven't subscribed yet, then go ahead and subscribe. That way you won't miss a single video as they come out. And finally, if you're going to shoot anybody today, shoot them with a Canon or a camera of your choice. And as always, guys, remember, happy shooting.